All right, what's up, guys? So I want to talk a little bit today about Buddy Kofoid, who is arguably and probably the hottest driver on the World of Outlaws tour right now. He has won 4 of his last 5 A main events with the series, and his average finish over the last 10 races is 2.4 or 2.8. Whatever that is, it is the best out of anybody else that runs with the series full time. He has not finished worse than 6th in any of his last 10 races, and I think that worst finish is 6th, and the rest of them are 4th or better on the podium. A bunch of wins, as we mentioned, 4 wins in the last 5 races. Buddy Kofoid has been red hot here recently. And, I feel like a lot of people have not given him the credit that he probably deserves. A lot of people were thinking that, Buddy Kofoid a couple years ago, or maybe even last year, they said that he would never win a big race. He'd never make it on the Outlaw Tour. He would never be a guy that could contend for a top 5 in the point standings, right? He has proved everybody wrong this year. He has been, in my opinion, one of the best additions of the Outlaws all year long, right? I mean, you look at the rookies, they've got Bill Balog, they got Landon Crawley. Those were his 2 closest rivals when it comes to this Rookie of the Year battle. But Balog and Crawley, they haven't won a race this year. Kofoid has won multiple races. He's been up front a lot. He's led laps in like 9 or 10 races this year. He has been such a good addition to that series. And he is on pace right now for what could be the greatest rookie season in the history of the World of Outlaws. It's been around since 1978. And I've done a lot of research here today trying to see the numbers of different Rookie of the Years for different drivers. And he's going to eclipse many, many of the stats as long as he stays on this trajectory for the last 15 races of the year. So far, Kofoid here at the top, this first line, 54 races this year with 15 left to go. That would put them at 69 races on the year. That is nice. 5 wins, 25 top 5s, 45 top 10s, and he currently is 5th in points. He is just 6 points behind last year's Rookie of the Year, Gio Scelzi, for 4th in points. Now, speaking of Scelzi, he was the 2023 Rookie of the Year. 72 races for him last year, 1 win, 18 top 5s, 49 top 10s, and he would end up in the 4th position in the point standings. So Buddy already is 4 wins ahead of him. He's 7 top 5s ahead of him, and he's only 4 top 10s behind, with still a very long ways to go in the season. So Kofoid is easily going to get 4 more top 10s, and if he keeps on this pace, he's going to pass Gio and tie him for that 4th place in points that he put up last year on his Rookie of the Year season. Spencer Basin, he was the Rookie of the Year in 2022. 67 races for him. He did have 2 wins on the year, 16 top 10s, 16 top 5s, 39 top 10s, and he was 8th in the overall point standings. So Kofoid already way out ahead of him. And then in 2021, it was James McFadden driving the Casey Kane Racing number 9 car. He had 71 races that year, 2 wins as well, 20 top 5s, 51 top 10s. He was 7th in points. So Kofoid is in front of him in all those stats except for the top 10s. And with 15 races left, we can all assume that Kofoid is going to get 6 more top 10s and pass what McFadden put up there back in 2021. 2020, Wayne Johnson was the Rookie of the Year. Only 54 races on the entire season. Wayne Johnson made 29 main events. He only had 1 top 10, and he was 12th in the overall point standings. And then in 2019, Carson Macedo was the Rookie of the Year. He had 72 races. He did have 4 victories that year, 16 top 10s, 16 top 5s. I don't know why I keep doing that. 44 top 10s, and he was 6th in the overall point standings. So pretty good numbers there from Carson Macedo. So these guys right here are the last 5 World of Outlaws Rookie of the Years. Now, after doing a bunch of research and looking through all the history books and stuff, I think it is safe to say, it is easy to say, that Brad Sweet, out of the entire history of the World of Outlaws, had the best Rookie of the Year season out of anybody that has ever done it. He had 88 races in 2014. He had 5 wins, which ties Buddy Kofoid. He had 29 top 5s, which Kofoid is only off by 4. He had 59 top 10s, which is going to be tough for Kofoid to match because there's only 15 races left. That would mean he'd have to be in the top 10 for the rest of the year. I don't see that happening. And Brad Sweet was 6th in points that year in 2014. So, I don't know. Looking at this, you could safely assume that Kofoid is probably going to get 1 more win on the year and at least beat Brad in that category. And I bet you he gets 4 more top 5s. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to get another 15 or 14 top 10s with only 15 races. I don't see that happening. But I did do a projection. If Buddy Kofoid did run 88 races this year with his numbers and all that stuff, he would have easily blown right by 59 top 10s if he was running the same amount of races that Brad Sweet did. I can't remember what the exact formula was. I plugged it into OpenAI or ChatGPT, and they told me that he would have had way, way more than 59 top 10s, but we have to go with the numbers that we have. But, assuming that Kofoid continues on this trajectory right now for the rest of the year, it could very easily be the greatest rookie of the year season of all time. Now, what can you chalk that up to, right? A lot of people will say that the competition is not what it was last year or years past, right? Obviously, coming in with High Limit takes a bunch of, top guys. You lose Brad Sweet, obviously. You lose Spencer Bayston. You lose Jacob Allen. You lose McFadden. You lose a bunch of other guys, right, that would have been on the Outlaw Tour this year to help challenge him and probably not get him a couple wins or a couple more top 10s or whatever. But you have to take the numbers with what we've got him. And with these numbers, he is very, very much on pace to put up the greatest rookie of the year season of all time with the Outlaws, at least in my opinion, especially if he can pass Gio and get into fourth in points. If he could put up one more win, if he could put up 5 more top 5s, it'll be no problem at all for him to say that this is one of the best years of all time, right? So now I'm going to switch boards. I have a couple more things that I wanted to talk about here. I'm just going to do it right now. I'm not going to turn the camera off, but here we go. So that's the first time this has ever happened on the channel. We got the second board right here. I'm going to make sure I don't throw it on the ground on accident here. So some other things I want to talk about. When it comes to the overall rookie of the years, with 5 wins, as we mentioned a moment ago, that ties the most of all time for a rookie of the year driver. Brad Sweet, we mentioned it, 2014. That is what Kofoid is tied with most all time. 25 top 10s is actually second all time in rookies all the way back to 1978. Brad Sweet, the leader there with 29, so he's only 4 away from tying that record. 45 top 10s is actually 7th overall for rookies of all time. The most, we mentioned it there, Brad Sweet with 59. He's also tied with Stevie Smith. I want to say that was in the 90s, 1990 maybe. Stevie Smith had 59. And so Kofoid, about every top 10 from now on, he's going to probably, or every 2 top 10s, he'll probably move up another spot on this list here. I think he'll get somewhere maybe like 53, 52, 54 maybe, but he's not going to get to 59. There's just absolutely no way. 5th in the overall point standings. He's currently tied for the second best points finish of all time, and there's still 15 races to go. The best rookie of the year finish was Gio Scelzi just last year, 4th in the points. And as we mentioned, Kofoid is only 6 behind him right now as far as 6-point markers behind. So he can easily pass him on Friday at Tulare. So keep an eye on that as well. And then from the data that we have on sprintcarratings.com for the last 10 or so years, Kofoid far and away has the most money earned by a World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year contender with $348,605. Now, what might be the craziest stat out of all these, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about a minute ago with the competition not being quite as stout as it has been the last couple of years with the implementation of High Limit, an average finish of 6.7. Brad Sweet's average finish was like 9.1 in that 2014 year. And that was, I believe that was the best. He might have been tied with one other guy. I think it was Stevie Smith he was tied with at like 9.1 something. So Kofoid way, way higher on the average finish. But you can probably chalk that up to no Brad Sweet, no James McFadden, no Spencer Bayston, no Jacob Allen, a couple other guys here and there, right, that are not on the Outlaw Tour on this year. So really, if you think about it, there's really 7 guys that have won. As far as the full-time World of Outlaws guys, there's 7 that have won all of the races, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, there's Brad Sweet's won, and Tyler Courtney's won, and McFadden's won. I'm talking about the full-timers. 7 of them have won a race this year. I don't think Zierfoss has won. I don't think Baylog's won. Landon Crawley, Bill Rose, Zierfoss, I already said him, I think. I'm missing Craig Kinzer. I don't think he's won a race either. So you can kind of makes sense why it's 6.7, right? Because there's about 7 guys that have a chance to win every night with the Outlaws right now. He's won 4 of the last 5 Outlaw races, as we mentioned. Coming up this weekend on Saturday, or next Saturday, the Roth Classic, which pays $83,000 to win at Tulare Thunderbolt Raceway. And who's to say that he's not going to be in contention for that one? He already won a $100,000 win race at Houston's this year, and Kofoid is red hot. He's very, very confident. The Roth Motorsports team, Dylan Buswell, all the guys on the team, they are just gelling very, very well right now. They have a great dynamic, and they seem to be very, very confident. Not only Buddy as the driver, but Dylan as the crew chief, all the crew guys, they seem to just be really hitting on all cylinders right now. And speaking of that race at Tulare, I mean, Buddy Kofoid is a former Trophy Cup champion, right? So he knows how to get around this racetrack very well. And I do not expect him to slow down at all here over the next couple of weeks. The only issue I would have to think would be, Williams Grove coming up. In his Outlaw career, his best run there is 11th. He's never been in the top 10. So I would have to think that, he might slow down there. But when they go to Wayne County, when they go to Sharon, when they go to Riverside or all these other tracks, I think Buddy Kofoid is going to keep this speed up for the rest of the year, and we'll see if he can beat that number for Brad Sweet in the top fives. We'll see if he can somehow beat that 59 top tens, which would be absolutely unbelievable. We'll see if he can beat Gio Scelzi for fourth in points as well. So let me know what you guys think. Is this the greatest season of all time for a Rookie of the Year contender? In my opinion, looking through all the stats, all of the history, it can definitely be argued, right? Brad Sweet, in my opinion, has the best Rookie of the Year season of all time, but Kofoid is right on his coattails. He's right there. If he can keep this speed up, he might be able to surpass Sweet and to have that honor. Really, what's it mean to anybody, right? There's no award for being the best rookie of all time, right? There's only the award for being the 2024 rookie, but still a cool thing. And I think people should be taking this kid a lot more seriously. As long as he stays on the Outlaw Tour, I think even next year he's going to be a championship contender. They're starting to get everything figured out. They're getting everything ironed out. He had a little bit of a rough start to the season, had some bad finishes, but if they can clean that up next year, I think he's going to be a guy that can certainly contend for the championship. He's been showing very, very consistent runs. Only three DNFs on the year, I think. So if he can clean those up as well, that'll help him out in the future. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Please hit subscribe, hit the like button as well. Appreciate all of your guys' support, and we'll talk to you again here soon.